Dear friends, I first of all want to thank you for the invitation to bring this message at this 10th anniversary council, and I regret not to be able to be with you physically. I am in Paris at a committee meeting of the Council of Europe and I could not change my agenda. I am, however, honored by your invitation, and I will take this opportunity to tell you what I feel about the current developments in Europe regarding the situation of transgender people. Yes, probably and overall, transgender rights are slowly improving in Europe. Looking at the evolution of the famous ILGA Europe rainbow map, we can clearly see that more and more legal measures are being taken to protect us from discrimination and violence. Countries are changing their legislation regarding legal gender recognition, removing the forced sterilization obligation from their laws. And some countries have clearly chosen to follow the path of self-determination. A major step forward in Europe was a resolution voted with a 2/3 majority in April 2015 at the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe. So yes, slowly and overall, we are getting there. And this is certainly thanks to the tremendous work of Transgender Europe and its partners. But changing laws does not mean that people's minds have changed as well. First of all, laws need to be implemented and reinforced. And secondly, the mentality of people in the street, at the working place, and even among friends and family does not necessarily follow legislation. Transgender people still have a lot of problems finding or keeping a job, renting a house, receiving medical treatment, getting help if they wish children, even if the law protects them from being attacked in the streets. In many countries, forced divorces and separation from children are still a reality for many transgender people, and our societies may be following changing legislation, but it is at a slow pace, if at all. And yes, I am a bit worried when I see what happens in Europe today. There are still a lot of homophobic and transphobic incidents and crimes happening in many European countries all the time. At the level of the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, we still have to table written declaration after written declaration denouncing the fact that very often police and justice do not interfere or punish aggressors. Victim blaming in cases of sexual abuse of transgender women is a common occurrence. Intolerance and religious dogmatism are on the rise in Europe. Europe is suffering from a growing sense of unease towards its minorities. And the refugee crisis, of course, has led to a hardening of many of our societies. Walls and fences are being built, people are being selected and pushed back, many are being put in detention centers. Deals are being made with countries which do not respect our views on human rights. The rights of freedom of speech and expression are being threatened, and this is not good for human rights and democracy in Europe. It goes without saying that when nationalism and religious extremism are on the rise, the rights of all minorities are threatened. And history has shown us what may happen to people with a sexual orientation or a gender identity which vary from the norm. We therefore have to remain vigilant. Europe is going through a period of crisis and of huge polarization. At the one hand, we are putting laws in place, laws that protect us better than before. But on the other hand, we might be victims of growing intolerance and hardening of European societies in their reaction against migration and their will to return to the old European values, including traditional families and religious orthodoxy. My friends, I do not want to be too negative or pessimistic. I just want to call for vigilance. We should never think that our rights and freedoms are acquired forever. We have to continue the battle to improve our rights and show solidarity with other minorities who now are new victims of intolerance and discrimination. And I, of course, refer to the large numbers of refugees arriving in Europe, among whom there are also a number of people who are persecuted because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. And these people, they deserve our help and solidarity. So in conclusion, Transgender Europe will still have a lot of work in the near future to help improving the situation of transgender people in Europe. In countries where a lot of legislation already is in place, we have to take care of vulnerable groups. And as members of the larger LGBTQI family, we know that there always will be work to be done in our fight against discrimination. I thank you for having listened to me, and I wish you a very successful 10th Anniversary Council. I hope to be with you next time. Thank you. Take care.